In this episode, we're going to talk about what are the signs of burnout and how to tell the difference between burning out and being lazy and how to stop this vicious cycle as a female. If you are ready, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up and let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. I'm very excited to talk to you guys about this. I recently had a client of mine who started working with me, and when she came to me, this is going to sound like a lot of my clients, but she had a lot of one-on-one clients. She was trading her time for money. She had different packages, different pricing. She had one-off sessions, 3 sessions, but she was charging in exchange for her time versus the outcome of what she's giving. Let me say that again. She was charging in exchange for her time versus the outcome of what she's actually giving her people. And so when we sat down and we looked at her entire business, I'm the kind of person that likes to work backwards. So I asked her, what do you want your life to look at? She is in her mid to late 30s. She and her husband want to have children. And so she very much wants to create something right now that has the foundation to be able to hold that. And we obviously realized that what she currently had wasn't working and was definitely not going to withstand that because she was riding solo. So after really deciding what the vision and mission was going to look like, we then began backwards. And we looked at her entire process and what she actually does for people. And we helped her create a group program and really scale back on the one-on-one. So we increased the price of the one-on-one. We got very clear on what she actually did for one-on-one and what those packages looked like. We stopped charging hourly and really started charging what the outcome was. And then we built a group program that she could constantly bring in people, but didn't take up so much of her time. And the funny thing was that took us about 2 months, right? And then at the end of the 2 months, she very much was like, or about 2 to 3 months-ish. And then she messaged me and she said, I feel like I'm doing nothing. Like I should be doing more. Like why I'm not selling anything. Like what do I need to be doing right now? I feel like I should be doing something. And then I said to her, she's like, it's not that I feel bored, but I feel bored. And I started laughing and I said to her, I'm like, well, your system is going through a shock right now because for the last year, you've been literally, because she also had a 9-to-5, you've been literally on fire because you're working 9 to 5 and then you're getting one-on-one clients and then you're working 9 to 5 and then you're getting one-on-one clients and then you're doing events and you're one-on-one clients and events and one-on-one clients. And I'm like, and this is the first time that you actually have a game plan. Like you've just been hustling for a side hustle and now you have a business, potentially could be a company. And she sat with that for a little bit. But then it really got me thinking about entrepreneurship and these stages that we go through because I remember when I was her and I had the same feeling where I was like, why am I not selling anything? I need to sell something. And so then I would go and create a product and then I would sell it and then I would close the container and then I would sell it again and then I would close the container and then I would sell it again. And it was exhausting. And basically I was on fire the entire year. And then also the detriment of this is that when you're relaxing or when you have quote unquote, you're not doing anything, which is not true because you're always doing something in your business, by the way. You really felt lazy and you felt like you were missing on something. And so there was like this psychological game that would happen where you would begin to question if what you were doing was good, if you are good at what you do, if this is going to work. And then you start spiraling and it becomes unsafe because what's happening is you're tying, listen to me here, my overachievers, okay, my productivity women. They're not actually being productive. And we'll dive into that in just a second. You're just mentally fucking yourself, okay? Take it from somebody who's done it and still does it, right? Because this is something that you have to train your brain not to do, although I do get better at it. What is happening is you are tying your worth to how much you do. And I'm not talking money-wise. That's a whole other podcast. But yes, that ties into the same thing. But you are tying your self-worth to how much you do. Think about it like this. Do you ever find a time or a day that you absolutely did nothing? And then you feel guilty, like you actually vegetated in bed. Or maybe you just lived on your couch for one day and you felt like shit because you did nothing, because you didn't do the laundry, because you didn't clean the kitchen. Like how many of you can actually sit still and do nothing? You struggle with meditation? You struggle with being completely silent and being in the moment? You are tying your productivity to your worth versus tying your worth to how present you can be, how peace you can be, and just because you are deserving of that. When I tell you that this takes work, this takes work. But these are the things that no one talks about, that you're tying your productivity to your worth, and it's dangerous. So she says this to me, and then I really just started snowballing and thinking about all the times in my own life, which I obviously have done that, and I was like, wow, it's almost like I'm running from something, right? So bear with me here, guys. Productivity is like a coping mechanism, right? You being busy, because I get a lot done in my day. I've never really say I'm busy. I say I'm doing things, right? I get a lot in it. But I remember there was a time where I used to say, oh my God, I'm so busy, but I feel like I get nothing done. And I wasn't getting anything done because I wasn't actually being productive, right? So the definition between being productive and being busy are two different things, right? When you're productive, you're actually producing something. Okay. But what happens with overachievers and signs that you're burning out usually is when your productivity becomes who you are and resting feels like you're failing. And that's where it gets really bad, right? Because you're tying your worth to your output. It doesn't feel safe if you're not busy, right? Your value is put on something you achieve, right? That's where also the struggle of like always wanting more and never like celebrating the wins. Like I tell my clients, you guys need to celebrate everything. The dollar, the $10, the 10, the 20, the 50, whatever it is that you make, you need to celebrate all of it. One of my clients set up a funnel. The way she got people into her funnel was like a $15 like thing. And I remember when it first started, she was like, it's not working. And then 2 days later, she made like 3 sales. And then 4 days later, she made like 4. She's like, oh my God, I made $60. And she was like so excited. But I'm like, those are the things you need to celebrate, right? Because it's like, yes, you did it. It's working. Because everybody knows, and if you don't know, you now know this because now you've heard it from me. In order for you to get to where you want to get to, you have to be happy where you are. Your frequency matches that vibration. And if you want more of the good, energy flows where energy goes, you're only going to get more of that. But if you are in the lack, if you are in the, I don't know if I can do this, it's not going to work. And you're just going to get more of the negative. Remember, like attracts like. Energy flows where energy goes. So, and I know that's easier said than done because at the end of the day, yeah, it is really hard. It is really hard to try to be positive. I'm not talking about toxic positivity, but I'm talking about looking at it from a different perspective. Getting to a place of like really being happy as where you are to get to where you want to get to, because that's why you're super productive, right? Like that's why we work so hard at the end of the day. I'm going to ask you to try this on. Try measuring success based on your energy, your presence, and your peace. The more present you could be with your partner, your family, your friends, the more at peace you feel, the more you rest. Rest is like one of my favorite things to do. And my mom's listening, she's gonna laugh because she knows it's true. Such a sleeper. Like I love to sleep. And as a kid, I loved to sleep, right? And so if you can start to measure success on that, like this is why I love my Aura ring. Because when it shows me at a 98, percentile of sleep and I get the little crown and it's like optimal sleep, I'm like, yes, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. And I want more of those. So I want to talk to you guys about the 5 signs that nobody talks about when it comes to women and burning out. And these are the things that like tail red flags for me when my clients come to me, when I also feel one of these things, I know I need to like pull back the reins and just kind of reset, relax, and make it intentional to just decompress, because it always costs more to burn out. Remember that. Once you've already burnt out, to get back to a healthy state, not only does it cost monetarily, but it costs emotionally and physically. And you as the business owner, you do not want to get there. It is not a fun place to be. I think the first thing you want to think about is when you're anxious, when you have no reason to be anxious, or you feel like there's urgency, like things have to happen, but there's no reason for it. Okay, I have a great example of this. When you're getting into a point in your business when you're making good money, and then you're about to up level, there is an anxiousness that comes along with that. Of like, could I lose it all? Could I get more? Even though your logical brain is like, no, you're doing fine. You're going to get more. Everything's going to be okay. You think, oh my God, could it be worse? Could I get more? Or when you're about to launch something and you're about to do like a live masterclass, or your body does this anxiousness of like, I could lose it. I could get more. And it's this, when logically there's no reason, but because you're doing all of this work before this, there's a part of you that has this anxiety. And I think that's a tail sign of like, oh, we need to reel it in. We need to collect ourselves. What's going on? Number 2, and this is a big one for me, you start to resent what you do. And like what you used to love, you resent it. I remember in 23 when I burnt out, one of the big signs was that I really didn't want to get on the phone with my clients. I love what I do, you guys. Like I didn't want to create content. I just wanted to sleep. And that for me was a telltale sign of like, uh-oh, this is bad. because I might wake up and be tired, but I will still show up 100% for my clients, my team, what I do, because I absolutely love it. And I know this is what I meant to do. Like nothing makes me happier when I show up on a stage, but I had so much resentment of like, ugh, I have to do this, to I get to do this. And that was a big sign for me. So if you're feeling some type of resentment towards what you're doing, that's another reason for you to pause, take a rest, take some time. Let's look at the physical aspect. Number 3, you rest, you sleep, but you're not actually sleeping. You wake up and you're just as tired and you didn't get a full night's rest. I think that's just like obvious, right? Because it's like mental burnout. I remember, this is why I don't like live launching consistently. Like I could do it once or twice a year. I'm cool with that. But the people that live launch, like every time they're going to relaunch their program, I don't know where you get the energy from, because it's exhausting. And I remember when I used to like launch something new every single month, that I would think about the funnel. Like I would dream about the sale emails and like the sales sequence. And I'd be like, okay, that's dangerous. That's a big deal. If you are dreaming about your sales funnel when you're about to launch something, you need a vacation. It's like you just need a full on vacation. Like that is a big sign. And so, oh my God, has anybody ever done that? I don't know. Shoot me a message. Let me know if you have, because I swear to God, like I feel like I remember literally having dreams in my past. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. So I have so much respect for people who do this. But this goes back to my client and how she felt, how she was doing nothing. And she felt like she was going to drop the ball, like something was going to fuck up. And I'm like, no, you're building something sustainable. Guys, remember, a boring business is a good business. And not necessarily what you do that's boring, but the functionality of the business is boring. It runs the same. You get clients in, they get the process, they get the results. You get clients out, you move them into the next product. You get clients in, they get results, you move them through the process, you move into the next one. Like when you can articulate and build a foundation in a business, we're talking about systems and operations and management, and it's fucking simple. You have nailed it. You have nailed it. Because the hardest thing in business is managing people and managing the operations of what it takes. You can have a beautiful idea, but if you don't know how to execute that in a way that it is received and fulfilled, it's going to be really hard to get results, and it's going to be really hard to sustain it. I've worked with a lot of businesses, all types of businesses. And besides looking at the product, because that's the functionality, like the first thing I do is like look at the product. And we could talk about, I'll make sure to do a video on this at some point, but like looking at the functionality of the product, the next thing I look at is the systems and the operations. Who's managing what? Where is there a miscommunication? Because 9 out of 10 times is that something isn't being translated or something isn't being done from a management standpoint. If you can nail that down, you have a boring business, and that's amazing. Everybody, that's what the goal is. Get a boring business, because a boring business means that there's a system. And if there's a system, ladies and gentlemen, that means that your business is an actual business, and that you can step away and it will still generate income. And when it still generates income, it means that it's sustainable without you. And what that means is that one day, if you choose to, you can exit. And when you can exit, you can sell it. And when you can sell it, you can make a lot more money. And that's what y'all should be striving for. Not creating businesses where you have to be on fire the whole time. Like your poor fucking nervous system. That's all I have to say about that. All right, number 4, you're consistently thinking, oh my God, I just have to get through this week. If you say that, because I think there's a time and place, right? So and this has happened to me before, where like I've overextended myself and I've had like 2 really heavy back-to-back weeks. And I've definitely been like, okay, I just can't wait to get over these 2 weeks. That's fine. But if you find yourself saying it like a month, every week for an entire month, we got a problem, Houston. We got a big problem, because you're going to lead to resentment, which is going to lead to burnout, which is going to lead to exhaustion and all the things, right? I think the big one and the most important one for me is resting and feeling guilty. I remember when I used to rest, or used to take the day off, I felt really guilty. So there's something that I would do when I was early stages of my business. Now I don't have a hard time saying like, I'm just going to take the day off. Like it is what it is. And granted, I have a team, I have people that like I can lean on and be supported and all the things. But I remember early stages of my business when I was like, I need to take the day off, but things that actually have to get done, right? Like maybe you have to check in on a client, maybe you have to approve something, write something, whatever. So what I would do if I really, really couldn't and I needed a mental day is I would ask myself these 3 things, and I would do these 3 things. I do the 1% is what I call it. The 1% is I look at my content, I look at my clients, and I look at my cash. So, and they all feed off each other. So it's all fully supported, right? So check in with clients, everybody good, we're happy. Anybody that I need to reschedule for tomorrow, the next day, whatever, cool. Content. Is it already posted? Is it scheduled to post? Can I post something quick enough? If I can't, and the most that I could do is a story, post the story. Great. You run a business, remember, not a hobby. Number 3 is the cash. Is there anything that's coming in? When is it next coming in? Is there anything that I can do right now? Is there an invoice that I can send? Once I do those 3 things, and I don't want to do anything for the rest of the day, I'm okay with that because I've done the 1% that I can handle today. I have a rule, I have a non-negotiable. I will do that if I need a mental day. I will do that for up to 3 days. Anything over 3 days, I'm being lazy. Something is going on and I have to check in with myself. And I think that's normal, right? Like you also remember you're an entrepreneur. I am the face of my brand, the type of business that I run that is what it is. I also, there's a part of the business that I run as an agency and we have clients and there's a lot of work that has to get done. But I have people now that help me and support that side of things. But again, just checking in with clients and making sure everything is okay, letting them know what's going on. I find that super, super helpful. How do you stop this? Because I think that's a big thing, right? Like, how do you stop this? Real solutions without just meditating. Although I am a big fan of meditation, but I think it's really hard when your brain is wired to always be busy to then hear somebody tell you, in order for you to calm down, you need to sit down for 5 minutes. Like, bro, I could barely sit down to pee and you want me to sit down and kumbaya for 5 minutes. And by the way, there is a saying by Buddha that it says, and don't 100% quote me on this, but it's something like, if you don't have time, meditate for 7 hours. If you have time, meditate for 7 hours. And he's right, because when you actually meditate, you have more time than you think. And people who meditate get what I'm saying. People who don't, you're going to be like, she's crazy. It's fine. But try it. I am a big fan of meditation. Meditation has helped me. It's what helps me on a daily basis ground myself. It's what helps me on a daily basis come back to me. It's how I tap into my intuition, God. It's literally my direct internal compass. So I'm a big, big fan of meditation, and I encourage everybody to do that. But I'm going to share with you some tips for not just meditating. What else can you do? Audit your energy and your time. This is huge. Oh my God, I wish somebody taught me how to do this when I was in high school, because I'm going to teach my kids. Because when you understand where there's an energy leak, and I'm talking emotional and physical. So ask yourself, what activities drain me versus fill me? So something I have my clients do is I'll have them record their day-to-day for 3 days. Literally toggle, TOGGL. It's a time thing. It's free. You can add it to your desktop, and any project you do, you time it. And then I'll have them have a journal, and anything that's outside of the business, you tell me, right? And I want everything. So like, wake up, brush your teeth, cool. Go to the bathroom, pee, great. Get dressed, cool. Talk to my friend. How did you feel when you spoke to this friend, when you got off the phone? How did you feel before you got on, and how did you feel after? This is so important because we tend to look as masculine, productive, overachieving women. We tend to automatically blame it on the business. Like, oh, I'm in Canva for too long. And yes, you probably are in Canva for too long and you don't need to be. But another thing to consider as an energy leak is the people that are around you. Are they filling your cup or are they emptying your cup? And it doesn't mean that this person is super toxic or anything like that. And by no means am I telling you like, that's it, cut them out, end of friendship. No. But it's a reflection of your boundaries and where you need to set them. So, for example, if you talk to a friend every single day and you find yourself super happy, and then maybe you're on the phone with her for 45 minutes, and the minute you get off the phone, you're just exhausted, mentally, emotionally, feel a little overwhelmed, underwhelmed, that's a tell sign that energy is leaking. And again, this isn't something on purpose. It's not something that she or he is doing. It just is. And so really checking in with yourself and giving yourself the time and the space to be like, why do I feel like this is emptying my cup? Right? And then doing the same thing in your business. What is actually filling it versus draining it? A lot of you spend time doing shit, like straight up doing shit, doing nothing that moves the needle in the business. For example, in the business side, if we were to look at that, I had a client of mine who was struggling to get clients, but when I asked her, I would tell her exactly what to do, she wasn't doing it. And I was like, what is going on? Like if I told her I need you to create a freebie and I need you to send it to somewhere, I need you to pitch to someone, she would say to me, no, I can't because I have to set up the Calendly link and then I have to set up the mini chat. And I'm just like, what are you doing? All I'm saying is reach out to someone. I'm saying to follow up with some warm leads. Why can't you just grab your phone and email them or text them? What is happening? And so then she said to me, well, what's happening is that I'm thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to create. And then I have to create a freebie. So I have have to go in Canva, but then when I get into Canva, I have to pick the template and I can't decide my colors. And then when I do the colors and the fonts, and then I have to download it, and then do I set up the automation through ManyChat so they get the PDF, and then do I DM. I'm like, girl, you lost me. My ADHD, you lost me. What are the needle movers? At the end of the day, somebody doesn't matter if the PDF is in a Google Doc or in a pretty designed PDF. They just want the information and that it's going to work. If you had a bagel store or a cookie shop, you would stand outside with samples and you would get people through the door. That's all a freebie is. And if you need clients, you'd call up your friends and family and be like, hey, anybody have a party coming up? Anybody need a catering service? Anybody need a coach, a health, and you know somebody, you live in this world, you have somebody, right? But we overcomplicate it with things that generally don't move the needle. So in your business, when I have my clients track their time, I look at the things that they're actually doing and what is the needle movers versus the things that are not actually moving the needle. What's the thing that's getting to their goal? If the goal is to get to $10,000 a month, are they reaching out to people on a daily basis to book sales calls? Are they talking to clients, previous clients? Are they pitching? Are they doing something in the sales department every single day? Or are they spending their time in Canva? And you can see where the energy leaks. Okay. Something this is really important and something that I've worked on over time is having like a non-negotiable power off, right? So after 7 o'clock, literally having the phone in another room, not looking at screens, being present with my boyfriend, having dinner, just spending time. Now, we go through seasons when I do this because there are times that I literally am finishing up and it's like 7:30, right? But the majority of the time, the protocol is after 7 o'clock, we turn off the phone. I am not scrolling. I'm not on social media. I am off. I am fully present and I am getting ready for my evening, whether we're going out, we're going to bed, whatever the case is. This has been life-changing. I also did this when I was single. So when I was single, I would turn off, I would put the phone in another room, I would put it in a drawer. Something that has really helped some of my clients, I've never had 2 phones, but I've had clients that have had 2 phones. And so once it turns 7 o'clock, they turn off the social media business phone, they put it in another drawer in their office, and then that's it. So that's another way of doing it if it's super powerful. I know the phone is a hard thing, but really, really being intentional about not looking at your phone. Now, what I'll do is I'll leave my phone in the kitchen, and then I'll go to bed. And when I wake up, I don't grab the phone. This has helped me to stop grabbing the phone right away. I do what I need to do in the morning, my morning routine, and then I grab the phone later on. And I think that has truly helped my mental health so much. But really measuring when are you actually turning off? Because the phone is stimulating us. At the end of the day, it's a dopamine hit. No matter how you look at it, no matter what you're doing with it. Okay? This is a big one. Number 3 is uncoupling. Uncouple your worth for your results. And this is a big one. This is something that over the last, I would say, actually, all 10 years of business, it's something that I've always worked on, especially the last 5 years. Detaching your worth from your results. And maybe this is an EFT tapping trick that you have to work on, which I've done, and I have. But really, maybe it's an affirmation, whatever, but it's really learning that rest is actually a strategy and value isn't earned. It's embodied. If you're a client of mine, you've heard me say this before. Last year, and this year, but last year I really started to be intentional with resting. So the times that I felt the urgency to work, I would literally be like, nope, we're not working, we're done. And I would close the laptop and I'd be like, what I do is not an emergency. I'm not curing cancer. We're not having heart surgery. We are done. And I would go and I would take a nap. I would go to the beach. I would go do something. And I kid you not, every single time I used to do that, I got a sale. Literally, somebody paid an invoice. Somebody reached out to me, booked a call, filled out an application. Never fucking failed. So I made up this mantra that every time I rest, I make money. Every time I rest, I make money. And it was just the funniest thing. And then I would get so happy and it just continued to happen. And now it happens all the time. I know I sound crazy, but it's true. Try it on. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to gift this to you. If you have gotten this far in this podcast, shoot me a DM and say, I received your gift. I'm going to gift this to you. You're welcome, okay? Number 4 is my favorite thing about being rich. I sound like such an asshole here, but I had to say this because I love it and it's the best, right? Once you start making money, and I'm not talking about, you don't need to make a lot of money when I say this, you just need to make some money, but it's really being smart with your energy, right? This goes back to where are you being intentional and what is actually happening with your time? What are the needle movers or what's not? And it's outsourcing. I love this. This for me, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. This goes to my mom. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. And my mom and my dad they still run a business for a very long time. And growing up, we had a cleaning lady, and the cleaning lady would come once a week. It was obviously 3 kids, and it was a lot. And the cleaning lady would come. We were so fortunate and so privileged to have that. But my mom, I remember her saying, like, for her sanity, the house needs to be clean because it's how she's productive. It's how she feels good about running her family and being a mom and all the things. And so because she didn't actually have time to sit there and clean a house, right? She hired the support once a week, which was awesome. And I remember thinking that as a kid. And I was like, that makes sense, because if she's going to make more money doing what she has to do for work, she could just pay somebody to do this other work and everybody's happy, right? Like that's abundance. That's how the world goes round, right? That was my logical brain as a kid. And obviously as an adult and a business owner, this is a very true factor. Hiring support when you look at opportunity costs. So when you audit your energy and you look at your business energy and your time and where you're actually spending your time, and if you're spending your shit ton of time on Canva, if you're someone who's spending like 7, and I'm using Canva as an example because it's the most basic, right? But if you're using like 7 hours in Canva, or maybe admin, sending invoices, whatever, those are things that you don't necessarily have to do, but has to get done to move the needle in the business. You can hire somebody to help you. And by no means am I someone who will sit here and tell you to hire someone for $100,000 when you make $10,000. Like, no. Or you make $1,000 and you're going to hire somebody for $5,000. No, that's called dumb. What I am saying is hire someone that is going to do the work that needs to get done and is going to give you more time to do the things that is going to make you more money. So I have a cleaning lady. And I've always had a cleaning lady. I've always had somebody clean. I also love to clean. Fun fact, when Jennifer's really stressed out, Jennifer will clean. It is literally one of my favorite things to do. I love to Marie Kondo my everything, my closet, my space. Like, my family laughs because they make a joke that, like, if I annoy them or if I bother them, I will throw them out. And they're right. Like, I have a thing where if I don't use it, it doesn't fit me, and it's taking up space for 6 months, I get rid of it. And by getting rid of it, I donate it, I sell it, I give it away, whatever the hell it is. But I don't keep it around. I don't like to keep things. I keep space for new things and new opportunities. So I say all that to say that I have a cleaning lady, and she comes every other week, and she helps me clean. And then throughout the week, I'll do things in the apartment, because as someone who works from home, that is very important to me. I need to have a clean space, a clean environment. I need to have things organized, because when there's clutter, and also let me preference this by saying I have ADHD and ADD. Like, for me, if there is clutter, I instantly want to declutter, and I don't have time to do that, right? My logical brain knows I don't have time, but my unlogical brain will be like, well, let me sit there and go run through this junk. No, it's not necessary. So when you really audit your time and energy, if you can afford it, to have that opportunity to have somebody help you, pay for it, because it really is super helpful. And if we're just talking about business, even hiring a VA to help you with the small tasks, the things, right? And be smart about how you're spending that money, okay? All right, last and most important, this is a lesson that I learned so hard in 23. Refine what success means to you. And like, go deep with this question, you guys. Refine what success means to you. Remember that success is taught. Well, most of what you learn is taught to you that comes from your parents, whoever raised you, and your family, your siblings. Everything is taught. So ask yourself these important questions of like, what does success mean to you? And try to find the real answer from within. Because if you equate success to being productive or making a lot of money, there will be times where you won't be able to do stuff because you're tired or you're sick or whatever, and it'll make you feel less than about yourself. There are times in the business, like every business, where you will have a dip and you will feel less than because you have that dip, or you will make it mean something about your worth. And that is very unhealthy, because at the end of the day, we tie our worth to our enoughness, then we also tie it to our deserving and our worthiness, and it begins to ripple, and it gets to the cycle of, am I worthy of having this life? Am I worthy of wanting my dreams? And we are innately worried. We are 100% worthy of whatever you want in this life. Do you have to work for it? Absolutely. But does it mean that you have to work hard and kill yourself to do it? No, I don't believe that. But I believe that if you want something and you already think that it's possible, even the thought of it, even if it sounds crazy, because you're thinking about it, there is some future version of you that already has it. And there is a signal getting back to you in this very moment. And you are about to start taking the steps to make it happen. I don't know if that lands for you. But redefine your success. Does it look like scaling to $10,000 months? Does it look like scaling to 50, 100? Does it look like having $1 million business? Does it look like having a family? Does it look like being present with your partner? Does it feel like taking the weekends off? Does it feel like taking Fridays off? I'll tell you right now, one of my favorite things is my summer Fridays. And to me, it's being able to take that time off. One of the things for me personally, success, was not having an alarm clock. My body now normally wakes up early, but the fact that if I don't want to, I don't have to, feels really fucking good. And that to me is success. I'm not tied to a desk. I'm not tied to someone else who's going to tell me what I can or cannot do. I've made that my own choices. And if I choose to do nothing, it's on me. Like, I've chosen to do nothing, right? But if I choose to do something, the possibilities are endless. So really get crystal clear on what success means to you, because the truth is success evolves. And it's okay, it can change. 100%, it can totally change. Remember when 10K months was my thing for success? And then I hit 10K months and I was like, well, that was easy. I wonder how triggering that is for some of you. Then I hit 20 and I was like, oh my God, that's so easy. And I remember when I hit 100 and how it was like a heart opener. I can't even explain it. I instantly felt like this joy, not because of the money, but because of who I became in order to get it, or to receive it, to have the capacity for. And it's not about, like, if I gave you a magic wand and I gave you, $100,000, that's what you wanted right now, you wouldn't be able to hold it. You wouldn't know what to do with it, because the business that came with it is 100% different than the business that comes with making $10,000 a month. The choices, the conversations, the boundaries that you have to have are key, especially when you run a business. And I'm so passionate about having these conversations with women, okay, and men, but women who are such overachievers and don't realize, where is your boundary? Where is your line? Because I promise, ladies, it costs so much more to burn out than it does to run a successful business. So if you've made it this far, I want you to remember that a boring business is a good business, number one. Number two, if you find yourself having the need to always sell something or always have to show up and you feel guilty when you don't, reel it in. Check in with yourself. Number three, where are you managing your time, both in the business and outside of the business? With who? With who is a big factor, big factor, okay? Where do you feel like you are leaking energy? How do you manage your time? Are you doing the things that ultimately move the needle? Where are you wasting your time doing the things that don't? And how can you get support around that? And most importantly, how do we refine success? What does it mean to you? What does success mean to you in your eyes? Where it isn't tied to productivity and it isn't tied to money. What is the thing that you need to see in order for you to be like, yep, I made it, mom. I am successful. Remember, you're not unmotivated. You're exhausted from trying to perform and be successful while you're secretly falling apart. Take time for yourself. Resting is good. And with that, my friends, I will leave you. I hope you all have a wonderful day wherever you are listening to this around the world. I hope you do good. And until next time. If you guys like this episode, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and reach out to me on Instagram and let me know what you thought about this one. This was a little deep, but I really want to hear what you guys thought. All right, I'll see you guys next time.